Well, let's check. If I switch to this, check. Check, check, check. I think we got it. What a move here. I didn't get filled on anything this morning. Absolutely nothing. I was trying to get along Tesla. Didn't get it. I was trying to get long Amazon. Didn't get it. I was trying to get long Apple. Didn't get it. What else? I think Microsoft even had an attempt. I saw this MU out of nowhere. Yeah, I tried to get it. I was late. Did not get it there. What else? I think Meta was another one. I don't think I tried though on Meta. Yeah, I didn't try on Meta. But quite a few different attempts, and this market's just running. It's just bleeding up. Just bleeding up. Very nice moves to the upside. Long and strong. I saw this Nvidia drop pre-market lows, and I was very suspicious about taking that short. I did not even put the orders out there because the context of everything is just so strong right now. It's really going against the grain. Look at this AMD. Well, yeah, that's that. Um, let's see what else. I have coded up my opening drive strategy as an automated strategy in Sierra chart, and I've been running it for, I don't know, about a week now, just trying to get some of the issues ironed out, and ran pretty well today. This one right here on BABA was a fluke. That was not an intentional entry, and I need to figure out, it went in with just huge size, like 2,000 something shares, um, and shouldn't have even put the trade on. But this is with $100 risk per trade, and it just tries to do what I'm trying to do. But as you can see, it actually got fills, whereas I got nothing. This thing has actually got fills, and it's still long Meta, and it's still long Apple. And I can even show, where is that? Can I make this a little bit wider? This is sitting on a different screen, but like it's got this app. This Apple's about to hit the 6-to-1 risk reward actually for this thing. So there would have been another spot to take some off. I have the 6-to-1s in there just for a visual right now. I haven't actually wired it up. Look at those. It just keeps running. Wow. Just keeps running. But what was the one? It was Baba. Yeah, this one. This is not at all what I'm trying to do. Did I lose internet? I think I lost internet. Hold on one second. Google, Meta, everything hitting highs. So I gotta still code defensively around this and figure out what the heck's going on there. But anyways, this thing has been performing really well, even despite this, whatever that was right there. Um, and it looks like my Meta just got, where is Meta? Window, Meta. It's somewhere else over there. Can I expand it, maximize? Meta. Okay, it exited at 3-to-1. Meta. Um, the entry was down here. Looks like it took one trade. So here's kind of what it's doing. It's breaking out, and then trying to find a spot, calculating kind of how I do, discretionarily where to get in. And took the entry there, stopped out the first attempt, had a retry, re-entered there, and then um, took the 3-to-1 there. But this is just on very small risk. Obviously not live. I still need to write an adapter to execute the trades through Lightspeed. Lightspeed has a C++ API. So I'm going to be probably writing an adapter to that, and all I have left now is this Apple, um, which is still running. So we'll see how that goes, but let's kick off the coding stream. Um, let's kick off the coding stream. I'll move this over here, and we'll pull, where's our, this up, have OBS up so I can see what's going on. Have this up, okay. So the questions that we had from yesterday, we had two questions. The first one, take a screenshot of it, post it here. Okay. Hopefully that's visible. Fab, hi, I see you here. How to materialize the subgraph extension lines of studies, like on CBBOAC, I don't know what that is, by a rectangular drawing. The idea behind it is to use the rectangle to play with alerts. When the price is close to it, I'll share a C++ file where I try to do two functions. The first one is to draw a rectangle on the graph with an alert condition in the same place of the extension line with intersection. The second is to locate the rectangle in order to compare if the price is near or touch the rectangle. Um, do you have a mic? You,
Yeah.
you do? Hey, hey, how's it going?
Yeah. Fine.
Uh, um,
Fine.
can you, what is CBBOAC?
CPP-OAC is a common as alert alert issue.
I have no idea what that
The,
is. It's a what?
the study polar bar on based on alert condition.
And it's quite difficult to hear you. It sounds like you're swimming in a swimming pool right now.
Oh, okay.
Is there any way you can get closer to the microphone?
Yes. Yeah. Do you hear me?
I can hear you, but it's just very. It sounds like a lot of echo, like you're in a room with noise bouncing off the walls.
Uh, uh,
Well, I guess the importance of CBBOAC, it doesn't matter. But so the idea you're trying to draw a rectangle, and then you want to see if price approaches like maybe that spot. Is that what you're trying to figure out?
yes. Uh,
Or if it's
yes.
somewhere else, if it prices up here, if you're trying to see if it hits the top. Basically, you want to know if the price is going to hit the top or the bottom of the rectangle. Is that right?
Uh, can you repeat, please?
Is your question how do I detect if price interacts with the top or bottom of my rectangle? Is that what the question is?
Yes. In fact, I want to. Do you know volume at price threshold V2?
Yeah, volume by price V2.
Yes. You know in the second part you have extension line. The graph.
It's really tough to hear you. Maybe switch to typing because it's almost impossible to make
Yes.
out your words. It sounds like you're in a swimming pool where the sound bounces off the walls.
Okay.
But I think the main idea is that you've drawn a rectangle on the chart, right? And the rectangle has a top and a bottom price, correct? Look at this Tesla 191. My goodness, just keeps on going. Um, so you have a top and bottom of your rectangle
Yeah.
and price is doing its own thing, you want to know if price interacts with either the top or the bottom of the rectangle. That's what you're trying to find out, right?
Yeah.
So when you, and NVIDIA on highs too, when you try to do or draw a rectangle using ACSIL drawing functions, you have to provide, I believe it's called like begin value and end value. I believe you have to provide these two floats. Um, and so begin value is going to be the price of the top, well, top line, and end value is going to be the price of the bottom line, unless you drew it from bottom to top, then it would be the other way around. But you are trying to, so you already have the values of those two because you drew this triangle, or that you drew this rectangle, correct?
Yes.
So you already have the values, the float values for begin and end value. So why not do something like um, after you've drawn your rectangle, you know price, you have the open, high, low, and close. You can grab that from the bar in Sierra. So if if you want to know if price intersects, wouldn't it just be if so if price is up here, let's say price is up here, you would want to know if the low drops below the top of the rectangle is if the low is less than or equal to. So if the low is less than or equal to the top value or begin value, I'm just going to call it top because it's easier to orient ourselves. So if the low goes underneath the top and the low of the previous low, I'll just call it the PL, the previous low was not underneath the top, so it was greater than the top, then you know that it touched the top, right? If the previous low was higher and then on the next bar the low dropped here, now the low has gone, so the previous low was greater than the top, right? This part right here, this was greater than the top, and now this part, the low for this bar, has gone less than or equal to that value. Therefore, we touched right there. So it
Okay.
touched the top. Likewise, if you want to detect something hitting the bottom value, what would that look like? Well, that would be if the previous high was less than the bottom, and then the current high is greater than or equal to the bottom, then it touched the bottom. So if price was down here, the previous high was less than the bottom, and then this went up, and now the high of that bar is greater than or equal to the bottom. What do we have? We have a touch right there, right? So those are your two main cases. Now let's look at the third case, which is what if at the time you drew your rectangle, price was in the middle of here? What if it wasn't at the top or the bottom? What if it wasn't outside of the rectangle? What if it opened? What if price was inside the rectangle when you drew the rectangle? Well, let's see. What if it goes does this qualify? Is the previous low greater than the top? No, it isn't. Is the previous high less than the bottom? No, it's inside. So you have a third case. This is case number one. This is case number two. And this is case number three. So case number one, I can just get rid of this. Case number one is when price is above and moving down. That's your case number one. Case number two, price is below and moving up. And then case number three, price is inside that area. And so how do we identify a touch of the top or bottom here? Well, we would probably have to say that both the previous high is less than the top and the previous high is greater than the bottom and the previous low is greater than the bottom and the previous low is greater than is less than the top. This this right here describes the previous bar's situation having been inside this rectangle. Now we need to add on to that, and I'm going to separate it by a line because this piece right here up at the top here is just signifying that we opened up inside of that area of interest, that box, right? But now we have a situation where if price goes up, so if the current price of the high, and if this high right now goes greater than or equal to the top, where's my pencil? If it comes up here, then we have a touch, right? So either the high goes greater than the top, or the low. This is an or, by the way, the double pipe, or the low is less than or equal to the bottom. What does that look like? Well, that's gonna look like this. It's gonna go less than or equal to the bottom. If you have this, it touched one of the sides, and that's it. You could split this out into both cases where, you know, you could say you could assign here, look at this. This is what you could do. I'm gonna copy this and I'm gonna remove this and I'm gonna set this as Boolean inside box is equal to, and by doing this, let me change this to code and make it a little bit smaller. If you have inside box equal to the previous high was less than the top, so that's true, and the previous high was greater than the bottom, that's also true, and the previous low was greater than the bottom, that's also true, and the previous low was less than the top, that's also true, then inside the box is true. If any of those are false, this becomes false. And then what you could do here is you could just say if inside the box and either my high went greater than the top or my low went less than the bottom, then you know that you are inside and you touched one of those two sides. That's about it.
Okay.
Make sense?
Yes, yes. Thanks.
You're welcome. Let's see, what was the next question? Next question we had. Actually, that was you posted a follow-up to it. Okay. Okay, well, open up the floor then. Who's got a question? Got someone typing? Let's check on the algo. Well, it's oh that uh that apple is still on. It's still going. Still going. Very strong day. Okay. So we got someone typing here. Just a second. You guys can jump on the mic if you want to. This is an open session. So, Gaspacho, if you have a microphone, go for it. So the question, oops, let me move over here and make a fresh spot. And the question, I'll take a screenshot, is it possible is it possible to pull live price and levels to here? Like, can we create it in a community project? And there's a screenshot here as well. And let's see what we got here. What is this? So, check. Is it possible to pull live price and levels to here? When you say here, what do you mean by here? Here being whatever this is? Like, I don't know what this screenshot is from. But if you want to grab prices and levels from Sierra, yeah, you can do that. I mean, if you want the current price, you can just say float current price is equal to sc dot close of sc dot index. That's the current price right there. Cha says you can push, but not sure about pull. Simpler reminders and levels to help with the DOM. I think he's asking if he can use the website to send commands to pull prices from Sierra. Check the link, please. Okay, opening the link. It's a levels app. Let me pull it down here. It's a levels app. Is this your website? Hit generate. Okay. Hosting from SBC. I don't know what SBC is, but that's okay. So you built this website and you want to be able to grab data from Sierra and populate it here? Or I guess I'm kind of confused on what are you asking? It looks like you have a ladder here of various prices by tick of the ES. What are you trying to accomplish? Okay. You never use Sierra, but what are you trying to accomplish here? Like, so you built a website and now what do you want to do? I'm not quite clear on what the question is, Gazpacho. I think we lost him. Okay. Well, we'll wait for him to come back. Does anybody else have questions? It's going to be a short coding stream then. All right. No questions. Oh, you're writing in the other chat. I did not see that. Hold on a second. Yeah, I did not see the writing in the other chat. So CBBOAC is the color bar based alert on alert condition in volume at price threshold V2. You have subgraph number 3. Okay. CBBOAC is the color bar based on alert condition. And then volume at price threshold V2, there's subgraph number 3. And then you have some code here. Let me download this code and open it here. Okay, we've got some code. Let me make this a bit bigger for the folks at home. Here's what you want to do. Okay, what do you want to do? Graph name, da-da-da. While you type that out, I'm going to just walk through this for everybody who's here. We don't actually, I've never seen this before, so I don't know what this code is doing. It's called custom easy. There's a subgraph, and there's one subgraph and one input. Subgraph is called edge zone. Input's called rectangle extension. We're setting some defaults here. We are setting the input to be condition of, oh, this is for the alert, I see, okay. And then this subgraph, you're setting the color, and then you're getting the alert code. You have a result that you're going to be calculating, it looks like. If I can translate if you want to hop on. Fab. Yeah, let's do it. Jump on the mic.
Et Fab, je parle français, Fab, si tu veux.
Let's do it. Oh, we lost Fab. That's not a good start. Well, he'll speak
Okay.
in French. You'll translate to Spanish, and I'll reply in Mandarin Chinese.
Okay.
I think he's probably got microphone issues. He's about to jump back on.
Yeah, I think so. Excusez-moi, tu m'entends? Yeah, yeah, je t'entends, Fab. Oui, en fait, ce que je cherche à faire, c'est essayer de créer des résistances ou des supports à partir des alertes émises par la studie CBB. Oh, the sound is really bad. Fab, ouais, je t'entends pas très bien.
Yeah, his audio was difficult to hear. Um, it looks like there's two different studies in here. One's called check price near rectangle, and then the other one's called custom study. But you want to draw a level based on an alert condition. So you have, I mean, do you need to use what is the alert condition doing? It's some external alert condition, Fab, that you're trying to use.
Yes.
So what can you describe what the alert is alerting you to?
Euh, euh,
Oh, someone translate for me what that is.
he's
We'll
trying
put
to do is draw basically a Oh, he wants to basically draw a line extension at whatever he has a color bar based alert.
Okay. What is the alert? Do we know? What is the alert based off of? And
Tab
I think I
color.
saw something about line extensions recently in the Sierra documentation that they're pulling that, like they're gonna discontinue. I don't remember what it was. It was something about extended lines. Maybe I'm muddling two different things. Uh,
Okay. It's based on a stacked imbalance.
Alert is based on stacking imbalance of volume, okay, in the
Yeah,
footprint. And
footprint.
then Fab, are you finding that stacked imbalance using an ACSIL script already, or are you using a combination of studies, other studies to detect that? Like how are you generating that alert?
Euh, En français.
Like the color bar, it's also based on an alert condition. Okay. I wonder if, so one of the tricky things when you have multiple other studies building alerts and then you're trying to use them as inputs into other studies, it can get kind of messy. So it's tough to keep track of everything going on. So what I tend to do, I mean, alerts are great and studies are great when you don't have the time or experience to build out the coding side of things. But if you start to have multiple alerts and multiple studies that all need to interact with one another, it just gets really clunky to be using that, and it's easier to rewrite everything in your own custom study to detect and generate those signals. So you have, so it's average volume at price is greater than, or the
No,
volume at price at the ask is greater than the volume at price at the bid, times 100, for example. Like it's 100 times greater. So there's an imbalance if let me make a very crude, um, I'll just use uh, this, this, we'll say this is 100. This, and this, and then this one here is at least 100 times greater than the ask volume was 100 times greater than the bid vol, right? That's kind of what you're saying is like, hey, I want to know when this happens.
I have this built, but not in Excel.
Mm.
And it draws the level, but it's using the Sierra studies. I
Oh,
never
how did
tried
you
it
how
that
did
way.
you accomplish it?
Oh, I just look at the footprint and I look at the diagonal
Uh,
imbalance.
uh-huh.
Yeah, and whenever there's one, there is another study that looks at alerts. Uh, there's another study within Sierra chart that's independent of the footprint, but it's a complement to it. And then you can take that alert, and whenever you have the stacked imbalances and it counts them, um, you can put a, you can literally just put a formula that says, hey, when you have stacked imbalances, give me the close or the high, whatever. I usually just use the close, and then I extend that until the next imbalance. So it's not perfect, but
Oh, can you post that in the coding channel? I'm not
yeah,
really experienced with alerts. I don't really use them. So,
yeah, I prototype everything there
yeah, if you
before I
can,
even try anything. Yeah, I can do that when yeah,
thank you.
I'll find that and put it in.
Fab, maybe that'll work for you. Because I just don't have the experience using alerts in Sierra. I don't really use them at all. Um, If I was trying to accomplish something like this via ACSIL, though, someone actually asked this question the other day. What you could do if you wanted to accomplish this via ACSIL is you have your number bars study already on your chart, and then there's a Sierra function exposed. I think it's called volume at price for bars. Let me look up the exact name. Hold on. ACSIL functions volume at price for bars. Nope. Volume bars. Nope. That's not it either. Maybe it's not under functions. Maybe it's a variable. Nope. Volume price. Nope. And what is that variable? Or what is that
Yeah, you showed it to me last week.
was it,
That
I feel like
question.
we just
Yeah,
looked at
you found
this.
it last week.
Yeah.
Yeah.
um vol bars, volume bars. Finding stuff in the Sierra docs is always fun. Bars at price. Ah. ACSIL volume bars at price. We're just gonna Google it. Oh. Volume at price for bars is the name. Oh, it was this. I was right the first time. It is called volume at price for bars. Okay. Volume at price for bars is the name. And if you if you use this function, what you can get is the array of price levels and the volume associated with each of the price levels for a particular bar. So if this is one bar, you can get all of that, and then if there's another bar here with another footprint structure inside of here, let's say it was just a small one and I had this. This function will give you access to be able to iterate through each of these price levels and grab the volume. So then you could do something like as you grab the most recent price bar fab, what you could do is like, hey, is this price level, is the ask vol 100 times greater than the bid vol? No. Okay, what about the next one? No. What about the next one? No. What about this one? Yes. Okay, this one is 100 times or more greater than the bid vol. So I'm going to grab the price of this. I'm going to draw a line for this. I'm going to do whatever I need to for this. So that's usually how I approach doing those types of things. But that's just because I don't rely on the alerts or the other studies. I just like to do it um, on my own from scratch. Um, Gaspacho wrote, "It will be like another DOM alongside the real DOM with levels and reminders to help." Gaspacho, why would you need to do that though? Because you can put descriptions on your DOM. Um, you don't you don't even need like you. Well, why would you need to recreate the wheel there? Not to mention like the Google Sheets importer study, you can have your levels in Google Sheets and have them automatically brought into Sierra onto your DOM or onto your chart. You're welcome, Fab. Okay, other questions? Other questions? We got a few people typing. Jazzer, hey man, long time no talk. Let's grab your question and bring it in here. Paste it. So the question is, how do you include volume at price for bars? I didn't see it in the studies list. Is it a DLL I need to download or include? No, it's not a study. It is a it is a function exposed. Actually, it's not a function. It's a data array pointer. It's a pointer to a VAP container that is exposed by the Sierra API so that you can access structures of volume and price that exist within Sierra that it uses to build out things like number bars and volume profiles and other things. They expose this so that you can also go through it and use it. So you wouldn't be able to go to like F6 and you wouldn't be able to um, say add study for this. This is something you need to write in your own code. And you can see an example of it. And actually, there's several examples that they show here in different files that exist in your Sierra ACS source directory. So if you want to see examples of this being used in code, you can go check these out. These are included already. Um, and then here's a small code example of how to use that. You can see that they're using it right here. And what they're saying is that I have a bar. Let's say it's the last one on the chart, and I'm going to use this pointer, which has a function associated with it called get size at bar index. And what that means is it's getting the number of price levels at that bar index. So if this is the last bar on the chart and you call get volume, what is it called? Get volume at price for bars, get size at bar index, and you pass in the index of that last bar, it's going to say, okay, well, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 price levels. So this will return 5, and it'll be stored into this VAP size at bar index. So you know you have 5 levels of price that you need to iterate through if you want to look at every single volume level at price within this one bar that's the last bar on the chart. Okay, well, what do we do? If we have five of these, well, we need to iterate, we need to loop through each of the 5. So how do we do that? Well, it's a for loop. And we start at 0, and we go until we're up to 5, which is stored in here, which is this, which we got by asking what is the size of this bar. So we go from 0 to 4, because it's a 0-based index. Essentially, we go 1 through 5. And then there's another function right here called getVap element at index. This is not saying getVape, okay? GetVap element at index. Um, And what this does is you pass in the bar that you're on. You pass in the price level index. I think they start at 0 at the bottom, so it'd be 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. So as you loop through, you'd say, okay, give me the 0 level, the 1 level, the 2 level, the 3 level, the 4 level. There's 5 levels total, 0 through 4. And then you provide a reference to this empty volume at price v2 structure, which is what's going to be populated. You're passing it in by reference, and it's going to be populated with the data of the volume at price at that particular level that you're looping through. And then what you can do is examine the different parameters that exist in there, such as the ask volume, the bid volume, the total volume, the price level, the price in ticks, whatever you want regarding that specific price level in there. So,
Hey, Frozen, if you want to compare things diagonally, because like a lot of the stuff, like imbalances, are really seen as diagonal.
yep,
How do you do that in that?
that's a great
You just
question.
have another loop.
No, no, first of all, it's a really great question. As you are looping through, instead of getting just one VAP element at index, you would actually need to get 2. So because these start at the bottom, I think it's 0. So this is the 0, this is the 1, this is the 2, this is the 3, and this is the 4. So, and then you know the total, the size is equal to 5, right? That's how many price levels exist in this example, 5. And you start at the bottom at 0. So if you wanted to compare diagonally here, what would you need to do? Well, you'd need to get both the 0 and the 1, right? So you need to get VAP element at index VAP index and also at VAP index plus 1. As long as you're not on the most high, the highest number, as long as you're not size minus 1, that's what you need to do. So when you're at 0, you'd get 0 and you'd get 1. And then what you'd be able to do is compare the bid of, or I'm sorry, the bid of 1 against the ask of 0, right? Or no, it'd be this way, wouldn't it? It'd be
Yeah, it'd be the other way around.
the
Yeah,
bid of it'd be the bid of 0 to
0.
the ask
Yes.
of 1. So that's
Yep.
what you would do. You'd say is so you'd have these two. You'd basically have this twice, right? Let me just copy this out of here. So
So this is actually answers Fab's questions,
oh,
at
does
least
it?
in part, because he could get the imbalance that way.
Because if you're iterating through it, at the start, this is 0. Yes, that's why I like to do this. That's why I like to do these manually instead of relying on studies because I have full control. So you grab 0, but you also need to grab 0 plus 1, right? So this will be what? 1. So what does that mean? That means you're grabbing both of these, except you'd probably want to store them at two different containers because when you grab the 0 element, it's going to get stored into here. So if you immediately go and grab this one and also store it into here, you're going to wipe out the data you got here. So you might want to make two. You might want to make two of these volume at price v2 structures, one for the first level and one for the second level, and then grab them, first level, second level, and go from there. And then what you can say is, so let's pretend this is volume at price 1 and this is volume at price 2, just for the two different levels. Then what you could say, and I'm going to just make this shorter by calling it VAP1 and VAP2, just so I don't have to retype this whole thing. Oh my gosh. VAP2. I'm not sure why this got all messed up, but whatever. Um, then what you would say uh, is is VAP1's bid volume times 100 greater than VAP2 ask volume. You see? Because what VAP1 is going to be the first one, VAP2 is going to be the second one, and as you loop through, it's going to bump through. The next one, it'll be this against this, this against this, this against this. You see?
Oh, do you see Fab's question? Yeah, that makes
I
sense.
did not. 1 second. 1 second. Wait. How do you implement the draw line when the condition is met? Sure. How do you implement the draw line? Let me. Oops. My bad. I went to the wrong. I clicked the wrong thing. Let me share again. There we go. I went to the wrong room. I was trying to get to coding. There we go. So if you had that situation where this became truthy, then you would put your draw line in here. I'm gonna move Jazzer. I'm gonna move your question over here. How do you draw a line? Okay. I have a little set of bookmarks here, and they're just for the various sections because it makes it easier. I'm just gonna go to drawing. Um, and scroll up to, let me just click top. Drawing tools. right here. So you want to use a drawing tool, and the type that you want to use is line. Actually, you probably want to use ray because you want it not only to draw a line that starts and stops somewhere. You don't want that. You actually want, I think, an array, a vector that keeps going. N a ray, not an array, but a ray. You want a ray versus a line because this will continue to go forward. The other thing you could do is you could create a line, continue to update the end index as you go until you hit some kind of intersection. That's another option. And depending on what the use case is, that might be what it is. But going back to here, I think there's probably examples in here of how to do this. Let's just search for drawing line. Okay, no examples in here. Oh, here's one, code example. So yeah, the first thing you want to do is build this use tool. So you would do that. You would the structure for a Sierra drawing tool, regardless if it's a rectangle, regardless if it's a line or a marker or whatever, um, you want to create a use tool, and you're going to say this is going to be my line, and my line dot, what is the name of it? Drawing type. My line dot drawing type is equal to, what was it called? Drawing line. Actually, hold on a second. Don't I have a video on my YouTube coding tutorials on how to do this? I think I have a video going step by step through all this on my channel, Fab. It like goes through, oh, it keeps going until intersection. I see. Keeps going until intersection. Right, so then it depends. So there's no, as far as I know, there's no built-in way. There's a function called like add line until intersection. I've never used it. I don't know how well it works. I like to calculate them manually, but we can go take a look at until intersection. It's not in here. Let's try functions. Until intersection. Add line until future intersection. What does this do? Let's read through this. I've never used this before. This function draws a line from the chart bar specified by start bar index parameter, which specifies its array index, the value specified by the line value parameter. The line extends until it's intersected by a future price bar. Other supported parameters are described below. So there's no need to delete it, and it can be used in other cases. This is not related to the drawing tools or to the use tool function. That's interesting. Okay. I've never used this. What does it take? Oh, and there's a second one here. What is the difference? Until future intersection. Until future intersection. I'm not sure why there's two of them, but
I think it's probably the one that, like at the intersection, the solid line stops and then there's a dotted line after that.
oh, it
I've
does
seen those.
something like
Yeah,
that. Okay.
yeah.
Well, let's look at this. On this one, what does it take? Well, it takes the start bar index. So I'm going to copy this function definition over here. I'm going to make it a little bit smaller because that's ridiculously long. Let's make it 2 lines. There we go. So your start bar index is going to be the index that you have this condition become true on. So if you are adding this line at the time when this, if you're putting this code here into this here, then your start bar index actually becomes sc.index because it is at that point when you want to draw that line. That's where you want to start it. Line ID for the bar. So this is a number I think that you probably provide. Line ID for bar is an identifier. You can be set to 0, and that'll be it. If there's multiple ones, you may want to. So you may, if you only need one, then you can set it to 0. Otherwise, you'll need some mechanism for keeping track of how of these different lines that you're adding. I think that, like they said, this isn't related to the use tool, so it's different than a line number that you'd use for the use tool, but I bet it's similar in just being a unique identifier. So if you only have one, then you can use any number. If you have multiple, then you need some mechanism for keeping track of them. Um, so this is just basically an integer. Line value, float line value. Well, that's going to be the price that you're at. And so since you have this situation here, what are we doing here? What price is that? Well, it's a comparison between two different price levels. This is one price level, and then this is a tick size higher. So you'll have to determine which one of them you want to draw the line on, because if you're using a diagonal imbalance, you actually have two different price levels that you're working with, right? It's not just one, you have two. So you have to determine whether you want to use the top one or the bottom one. Which one is the, I guess if the ask volume is 100 times more than the bid volume, then maybe you want to use the ask volume price. And if the bid volume is 100 times greater than the ask volume, use the bid volume price. And I believe it's just, where is that? It'd be like VAP1, yeah, it'd be like VAP1 dot price. Let me make that a little bit bigger. VAP1 dot price. So that is what you would use for the line value, going to there, okay? The color ref, line color. So this is just it's an enumerator that Sierra exposes. You can actually see it in, let me pull it up here. I think it's an ACS source. Sierra chart structures. Let me make this bigger. No, it's not in there. It must be in SC constants. Color. Color bar. Color red. No. Where is it? SC. It's not. Oh, it is a file called sccolors.h. Okay, there's a file called sccolors.h, and each color that they create, basically a variable for, is explicitly defined by its red, green, and blue values, and you can see that all here. So, like, if we look at color red, you can see its RGB value, its red, green, blue value for red is all red, no green, no blue. So anyways, what you can do here for this is you can specify either something like color red if you want, or you could alternatively specify something like RGB and then, my own combination of red, green, and blue if you want to do something custom. Or you could do any of the other colors that are listed in there, but whatever. We're not going to get into the weeds on that. And then line width, I'm going to remove this color here. I'm going to move it over here. Line width, this is just it's just an integer for how thick you want the line to be. You could probably just default it to 1. I think if you make it 0, the line will go invisible. If you want a big fat line, then you can make it 10, 15, 20, whatever. Line style, so this guy is the one that controls whether it's a solid line, a dotted line, a dashed line, and oh, let's go back to our drawing. Solid. Line style solid. Line style. So you can use solid, dashed, line style dot, dash dot, dot, or alternate. Those are the line styles you can provide. So you can put line style solid there. Draw value label. This looks like it's a true false. Let's go back to our function. Draw value label. Set this to true if you want to draw value label. That's going to be the price. So if you want the price to show on that line as a piece of text, then set this to 1. Draw name label. This is a similar thing as the previous one, I'm guessing. Set it to true if you want to draw the name label. And then this one, the name label is an SC string. So that's if you want to, SC string um, my line label, and then you can say my line label dot format. Um, this is my super awesome line, and then you can pass my line label into here, and it will. And if you have draw name label set to 1, then you will have this is my super awesome line appear right here. This is my super awesome line would appear right there. That's it. That's apparent. I mean, I've never used this, but that's apparently how you build that out. That's how that's done. Let's see. You got a couple questions here. Ziggy, hope you're well. Thank you. Thank you. You too. Thoughts on automating trade log exports? Trade log exports. Do you mean trade log the tax software? What do you mean by trade log exports? Gazpacho, hope Sierra works with Mac OS. Gonna check it out. Texts manually input, but that can pull the levels from SQL. I know there's a couple folks running Sierra through Parallels and other virtualization software on the Macs, and I thought I saw a thread somewhere about them releasing an um, an ARM target architecture build for Sierra. So keep an eye on that. Nolan from Arizona asks, could this work with add line until future intersection? Yeah, apparently it does. As we just saw, Luke says I use the EX one for 2 lines and it creates a zone. Oh, it creates a zone. Interesting. If you use 2, well, that's cool. Thanks, Luke. Jazzer, you're welcome in. Ziggy, Sierra chart trade log export. Oh, the window in Sierra. Ooh, goodness. Hold on. Let me take a look. First off, it looks like I finally got stopped out, or not stopped out, but that Apple trade finally ended. And yeah, it's flat for the day, and because of the time of day, it won't be taking any more trades. So closed out the day. This is on $100 worth of risk. Pretty good so far. So I'm gonna keep monitoring this, and then I need to build out the API to execute it through Sierra or through Lightspeed so that I can run this. And I need to figure out how to stop situations like what happened with that Baba, not because of the red, but because it wasn't even a trade that I wanted to take, but it somehow got truthy, so I'll have to figure that out, why or how that came to be. But this is very encouraging um, on the automation part. Oh, I was looking for the trade log. It is this. This is the trade activity log. This is what you're talking about, right? Yeah, this one. Um, so let's see. The question is automating trade log exports. I don't even know. Is there a way to export this? Let's take a look. I have no idea. Uh, trade log. Trade log. Let's try switching into positions. Trade log. Trade list. Trade log. Get trade list entry. Trade activity log. Oh, it's because it's called trade activity log, not trade log. Trade activity log. There's 17 mentions of trade activity log in here. Um, this is the very same data that exists on the trades tab of the trade activity log. Okay, so this function, trade get trade list entry, looks like it may do, I mean, I don't know which of those tabs you're trying to export, but if you want a list of the trades, it looks like this would give that to you, get trade list entry. I think I'm using this for one of my clients actually. Um, yeah, this looks pretty familiar. Here's an example down here. Let's take a look. So you create a structure that will essentially be passed around and populated with data, and then you get the size of the trade list off the trade log, and then you iterate through each of the entries on the trade log, and then you populate that structure that you are going to be passing in to hold that data. And then once you have that, you can find various pieces of information that are based off of it. So what is SACS trade? Let's find the let's find the structure for that. SACS trade. Structure list is below, so this contains the open date time, the close date time, whether it was a long or a short, the quantity, um, the max quantity, the entry price, exit price, the P&L, um, your MAE, your MFE, your FTF MFE, and your FTF MAE, and then your commissions, and then whether or not it's closed. So it does look like at least part of that trade activity log is exportable, because if you grab that, you can grab all this information and then write it to a file. Um, uh, it's exactly it. I just haven't implemented that code in a study. Yeah, so I would start with this. I mean, you can see here they're putting it onto a vector so that you don't have to. This is kind of an optional step, but it makes sense so that you don't. It doesn't matter. You could deal with it right as you pull it off here, but they're taking each of those structures and pushing it onto um, something that they can use. You can use later, but it looks like, yeah, if you do that and then just loop through, grabbing whatever field, like here they're taking close profit at loss and they're adding it to some like master profit and loss, which would be for the day or whatever time period. But you can get whatever you want and then export that to file or whatever, target you're trying to get to. Luke asks, you're welcome, Ziggy. Luke asks, if I want to create a bracket order based on a study's volume values, would I have to make a study for that? If I wanted to create a bracket order based on a study's values, didn't Chris build something for this? I think Chris built something for this. Um, Varillo Trader, have you looked at his YouTube? I feel like he built something that is for that does something similar to this. But you can populate the bracket order spot in Sierra on the UI. You can populate that with values from a study. Yeah, yeah. Actually, I'm like 95% sure now that he has um, at least made a video or multiple videos from this. I think he actually released some code. Go check it out, or ping him on here. He's in here as well. I don't think he's on this call right now, but he's around. And check out his video list because I do believe he actually released something like this. If not, then we'll cover it. We're past an hour here. I'm gonna head out and start doing my day. Um, no trades today. I did not get filled on a single thing here today, and these just keep marching. I mean, AMD up 5%. My goodness. I was trying to get long this, trying to get along Tesla. I mean, these are just long gone. Look at this. Up 4%. Amazon up 5%. I mean, this is just funds chasing. This is, wow. You just searched and found the video? Awesome. Can you post a link to it here, uh, in here so that other folks can also see? And I'll check the other chat one more time. Do you think it's possible to grab the add intersection line to see if the price touches or is near the line? Um, to grab the line, I think. Go back. I'm wondering if you can use like the get line by ID to get those. Um, it might be in the other section that's specifically for get line. Get by index by line number. Maybe not. I'm not sure you can do it through here because they specifically said it's not at all related to this. I'm not sure you can get that. No, I'm not sure you can get that line. I think you can delete it using, they said you can delete it using, where am I? I lost it. They said you could delete it using add or intersection. Nope, on the wrong intersection. You can delete it using this. Delete line until future intersection, which will find it and remove it. But in terms of grabbing it, no, it looks like you need to probably store whatever data you want stored from this on your own. Rather, it looks like you can just add and delete this line. You can't actually like play with it after you've added or deleted it. Okay, you posted that video. Thanks, Luke. Elite bracket orders from Verillo. Nice. Okay, let's call it here. We've been going for more than an hour. Uh, Thank you for joining me, and have a wonderful weekend, guys. Let's
Thanks,
kill.
Frozen. Take care.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Let me kill this stream.